It was very creepy because it was the way he said it. His eyes were bulging. He was by himself. He had like a Simon and Garfunkel curly perm. And just the way he said it and the look in his face. And what made it creepy was when I hit him with the what the look, it wasn't like he took a second to go, I'm joking. He ran.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, chewing the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this. Before you was on your mama.
Harry Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
This is the last stop on the Canadian tour. I want to say that this is how it ended last year. Toronto.
Was it Toronto? Yeah, it was Toronto.
Yeah. So let's see. We hit Halifax. We hit Ottawa, Oshawa, Montreal, and now Toronto. What a way to go out, man. Because then tomorrow is Beantown Kid. You understand? And it's funny, man. Oddly enough, I liked Halifax the second time around.
I like Halifax. I always like it.
Yeah.
It's Nova Scotia, that area, everything in there is just kind of chill. It
Seems like you a kind of Andy Long, white beard, laid back kind of town.
sea kind of captain guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very relaxing. Like I could see going there with Tara for like a 3-day weekend, do a bed and breakfast, and just chill out for a few days. Because it's only like an hour and a half away, I guess. From
And then Ottawa and Oshawa, right?
Oshawa.
That didn't blow me away. I like Montreal when you get further out from the area we were in.
Well, that area is it's a very
Filthy.
it's raggedy.
Yeah.
It's a raggedy area, but it's a cool area, man. It has a lot of art and really cool things in there, but it's a little raggedy, and they have like some of the. That's where I think the densest amount of homeless population is. But they have the most in shape homeless people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They might just be hungry, but they're in shape. They have abs.
Yeah. And there's a reason now for me to like have a disdain in my mouth for Oshawa. But before we get to that, but anyway, so yeah, we're here in Toronto. We're going to end the tour here in Toronto. If this is anything like it was last year, great vibes, great people, great energy, sold out show again.
The next two shows are sold out here and in Boston.
And in Boston, like Toronto, great city to end. You've heard me rave about Beantown. I love Boston. But listen, man, Oshawa, we're done doing the show. We're selling merch. And this white dude comes up to me and he says, Aries, I'll lick your ass for a t-shirt. Of course, I hit him with the what the face. And the reason why I hit him with the what the face, he was serious. It was very creepy because it was the way he said it. His eyes were bulging. He was by himself. He had like a Simon and Garfunkel curly perm. And just the way he said it and the look in his face. And what made it creepy was when I hit him with the what the look, it wasn't like he took a second to go, I'm joking. He ran.
No, he didn't. That's not
he darted out.
No. He actually looked at the other guy and he goes, and then there was another guy standing there, and you didn't hear this because you were like, one of the other people were talking to you. As soon as he said that, the other guy goes, it sounded like you're serious. He goes, I'm serious. I know what I said.
And then he left.
And then he ran out.
Even creepier.
Like really weird. Like I was surprised he wasn't out there like tongue out ready to go.
I'd have beat the shit out of that man. Oh my God. Like he meant that. I could see it in his face.
But when you said white, he's Canadian white. That's a different kind of white. That's extra white.
Oh, he should have came back and went, I'm sorry.
I thought I saw you give him a t-shirt, Andy.
Yeah, I did. All right. I felt good after that because I didn't want
to. You gave one of your t-shirts.
Yeah, I didn't want to, because of my hands, I didn't want to just, clean my ass.
He'd have probably licked my ass and then wiped me up with your t-shirt.
I didn't give him a shirt.
Oh.
He did dart out after that. I think I don't know if he was embarrassed, but because some of the other people said some to him.
Yeah.
I think they made him feel like he was not that wasn't welcome and he needed to leave. Because you know what? I'll tell you this about Oshawa though. Oshawa, they're not they don't fuck around a little bit. Like they're not as friendly as some of the other places. I don't think.
Well,
I liked them. I'm just saying they're not as
Right.
friendly. I liked that they're not as friendly.
You talking about Oshawa? Or Ottawa?
Oshawa.
Well, I think both places, because the night before we were in Ottawa, and I had to deal with this drunk white, and that was the same club last year where I had to deal with the drunk off on my on my whatever 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So and then Oshawa, there was the drunk in the back who afterwards, when we were walking back to the hotel, ran up and asked for a picture. So yeah, there's a little bit of drunken silliness in both places.
Yeah, but that girl, she was a girl that she was an attractive girl. She has big boobs. She had big boobs. She was a blonde girl. She thought she knew that most dudes would give her what she wanted or treat her a certain way. And so she had this attitude. And it was really funny because then she went outside when
I think her name was Bianca.
Yeah, she went outside when you reprimanded her.
Right.
And then she said, "Oh, you were so." She comes over to me and says, and then she said, "I'm going outside. I'm going to smoke a cigarette." And I go, "Okay." And she goes, "Do you want to go outside?" And I go, "No, I don't smoke." And she goes, "Well, you don't have to smoke. You can just come outside with us." And then I go, "But you'll be smoking, so no."
I would have gone outside.
Of course you would have, because you would have been mesmerized because she was hot. That wasn't the point. Sometimes you got to let hot.
Anything more to life, Andy?
Yes, sometimes you have to let hot know they can't get away with.
Especially when they're drunk and sloppy.
Yes,
I don't like sloppy.
you're still at that age where you'll do what anything to get that.
Nah, she was too much. That would have been an annoyance.
Well, no, you just said you go. I would have went outside.
Well, I would have gone outside. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been done with her after you. I wouldn't have even wanted
No.
to fuck.
That's
Bianca was very pretty, you guys.
she was. I'm not saying she wasn't, but pretty girls sometimes
Going
need to
through a
know
tough
that
time.
they.
Her boyfriend just went to prison.
Who cares?
They're broken up now.
See, he already knows too much about her. I don't give a.
She said it during the show.
I don't give a.
It dawned on me the other day. I don't know why, but I was thinking about us, me, you, and Mark. And I went, you know who we are? We're the cast of Mississippi Burning.
We are.
2 Jews and a black.
Oh yeah, I guess so. They're gonna find us. They're gonna find us burnt out in a what was it? A car in the lake?
Yeah.
Was it a car or a bus? It was a bus.
No, they were in a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they shot, killed them, buried the car, and then buried the bodies.
Set the car on fire too, I think, and then put it in the.
I'm not sure if they set it on
I
fire.
don't know,
From
man.
the movie, they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
then Michael Rooker has that line, you left me in, but at least I got to shoot me in.
Dude, you know what? We talked about this. Michael Rooker, the two people that I admire that I think are, obviously aren't that character, but have played Michael Rooker and then Leonardo DiCaprio in Django.
Yeah, who had the better frothing at the mouth racist? Well, his character in Django, for lack of a better word, was likable until he wasn't.
Yeah, but
Michael Rooker was just,
Straight up.
I'll punch a black baby in the mouth.
And then, because he kind of he's in that frame a little bit because in The Walking Dead, he plays a bad guy at first, but then,
Right.
he becomes a misunderstood character. But, that Michael Rooker's a hell of an actor, dude.
Oh, I'm hoping I can put him in this movie, man. Okay, the meat and potatoes. So again, it was recommended to us, Shooting Guards, Untold on Netflix, the Gilbert Arenas, and I hope I say this dude's name right. Oh my God.
Yeah, I hope you have it.
Javaris Crittenton.
Crittenton. I thought it was Crittenton.
Crittenton or something like that.
Who you got to feel for?
Very badly. I mean, because at least Gilbert, I think, still stayed in the league a little bit and was able to.
But it was the end of his Gilbertiness.
But I wonder if that had more to do with.
Agent Zero was done after that.
But was that more attributed to the controversy, or he just really was done?
No, I think it was the controversy.
Okay.
I think at that point he was just done. There was,
But he stayed in the league, I think, long enough.
Yeah.
And when his time where he was shining through endorsements and his popularity, he made some money.
Yeah.
And I remember when I did his podcast, his crib in the private community it was a panty dropper.
Yeah, no.
But at least he made some money. This other dude, man, he caught the short end of the stick like a.
Yep.
And it's sad too because, I mean, from the jump, I mean, like literally that whole shit with the situation with the Lakers, but we'll get into it. But one of the first things I said about Gilbert, and I remember when I met him, we were both at baggage claim at LAX, and I saw him and walked up to him. I was like, "Yo, my God, I just want to tell you, man, fan of your game," and he was, of course, reciprocated the compliments. And then next thing we know, we chopped it up. I got a podcast, man. Come through, change numbers and blah, blah, blah. You could tell where he's a very likable, funny guy, like in the thing.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, and I think ultimately what cost both of them, he didn't know when to turn it off. His antics is the word they use. He didn't know when to turn it off. And quite frankly, like even that moment, which I thought was very telling, was when they said, during the draft, when he was interviewed by media, and they said, what do you hope to accomplish in the NBA? And he goes, I want to be a pimp. And immediately, red flags went up. So he goes, I don't back down, I double down. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, I want to be an international pimp. And I'm just like, and he like you, he grew up, his kids, boys, well, you're a single father, raising your kid. His father raised him. He didn't teach this etiquette.
Listen, man, and you can talk about this better than most, I think. But I think it's even worse for athletes. When you have ability and it's recognized, that's that people will start to focus on your ability. And they don't focus on the other things that might need a little bit more assistance. It should happen. It should happen in college. I've heard athletes, especially in basketball, talking about that there needs to be classes for the guys that are coming up that are going potentially, and more so, not even just for the NBA players, but there's a lot of people that are going to play in Europe. Man, they need to understand the cultures that they're going to go into, because they could f themselves over in a different country, which is even worse. Right. So I think that that really should be something that, if you're going to put so much effort into someone, when you go, hey man, this person's going to be a star, and they start nurturing that. And, even out of the ones that get nurtured, only so many of them make it to the NBA. But if you're one of them, I mean, they're really taking care of you, and you're getting away with things, and you're saying shit, and you're funny, and you're getting away because you're funny, because you're a star, you're funny. You have to make somebody a little business savvy, but it's also hard when you know that people are paying attention to you because of your skills, and you want to be a kid still, and you're funny. You want to be a kid. You're 20. You're 20 something. You're 21, 22 when you're entering the NBA now. I mean, we did all kinds of stupid stuff at that age. You, I mean, I know that from you. You came up and you hit it, and you talk about it like after the shows. I mean, you were kind of on your own because they were going to do other things. You had to find your own space. If you're finding your own space at 16, 17, I mean, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, the first line of defense starts at home.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if you got two parents or even a parent who is doing their job, you are already being groomed for that. But again, if your parents don't come from that kind of opportunity, then they may lack the experience to get you right. And if the first line of defense at home fails, well, then yes, the second line of defense should be college.
Should be
the coaches that, when they talk that father-son relationship, ain't just like a coach, he's like a father. He's like a father to me, the father I never had. Well, then don't just nurture the talent. You got to nurture that too.
Yeah, but his coach was Lute Olson. He went to the U of A, and Lute had a kind of it was a great coach, but he wasn't a father figure. He was a little bit of an arm's distance away kind of guy. Very nice man. I think he was a nice man to many of the players. But how close are you going to get? There is a difference of how close. You can give people advice, but I don't know that I never heard anybody say he was a father to me. not like other coaches.
Right.
I've never heard anything about like that from Lute. And you know, I know that I know Brian Williams changed to Bison Dele. Man, he after he went through the draft and came back, you know, he went to go sit on the bench, you know, with the rest of the players, but he's gone. He's already graduated. And Lute just said, I don't even know, you know, this is what I was told. Lute said to one of the assistant coaches, tell that to get off the bench. Or not, maybe not. He said something derogatory. It might have not been, but it wasn't something nice. It wasn't something kind.
Yeah.
That he wanted him off the bench. So, you know, he had people that he loved and he had people that he didn't. I don't know how Gilbert fit into that because Gilbert was used more defensively when he was there. He wasn't. He didn't look like that same kind of player. Great player, but didn't look like the same player that he was in the NBA when he was Agent Zero. So that being said, I want to get to something else that gets missed in this because since we're talking about the parents, and wait, one more thing, but a single dad, you know, dads like to joke around. Dads are jokers. Now, we can't be our kids' friends all the time. We have to be their parents.
Right.
But we're jokers, man. We fart. Funny. Farts are funny.
Speaking of which,
You know, and you're playing with your kids and, you know, maybe you say that, you know, you think that you have an understanding where the line is with them. But remember, if you have a line that comes over a little bit and they're on their own, that line's going to be crossed even further. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying when you said a single parent, a single dad, yeah, maybe, you know, it was just there was a kind relationship that maybe he didn't get. Like you had to be, you know, you have to. If you're going into the NBA, you have to look at it as a corporation. You got to bring a little bit of a briefcase with you, at least a backpack.
right?
And so, but when we said that, the other dude, what's his name again?
Javaris,
man. You know, there was something that was key in that when they're talking about it. He got recruited, but he didn't want to go away.
He wanted to stay home.
Dude, you got to go away. I'm just going to say this.
Right.
You got to go away. You got to take your college away because that's why he said when he got into the NBA, you know, we didn't do that. We didn't look like that. We didn't do that back at home.
Right.
That's why you got to get out of your house. That's why you got to get away from what you know and go see some other things.
Yeah, but some dudes, and the prime
Bring
example,
your mom with you.
Okay, well, some dudes are what they call an introvert.
Yeah.
Like I remember, again, I keep saying it, but one of the greatest sports documentaries, Courtship of Rivals, Magic and Bird. Magic was talking about, I think, Bobby Knight. Where does he coach?
He was Indiana.
Okay, well, damn, then how does that work? Well, I think the first college he went to, he was like, I ain't never been to something like this.
Who are you talking about?
Larry Bird. He was like,
he went there first.
Yeah,
and then he left.
Right, and then he goes, you know, I'm used to Terre Haute, small town. I'm not used to big campus, all these people. To me, I was out of my cocoon. So, yeah, some people feel like they're leaving the nest, and without the nest, then they're lost. But you're right. Bring your mother with you. Bring your people with you.
Because you got to get out. You got to see it differently. If you stay in what you know, and then you get drafted, and they talked about the worst place he probably could have gone.
L.A. And let me jump to that note real quick. When he was talking about, you know, he wasn't getting no playing time. He wasn't even allowed to dress in the uniform. He's in L.A., so he got with some Crips and whatnot. Let me tell you, L.A., because of its glitz and glamour and beautiful sunshine and palm trees and beaches, that's all pretty, but LA is a dangerous place to be without anyone, especially if you playing for the Lakers and you making money, because you get hit with all the temptations, the women, the lifestyle, you know.
Okay,
the
navigate that for
clubs.
us. You were how old when you went to LA?
17.
Navigate it for us. What happened to you when you got there? What was your temptations? How did they come at you?
Well, first of all, I'm 17, 18, 19, 20. I can't get into anywhere.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, I'm just, you know,
Yeah, but you're on TV.
lockdown.
You're on TV. You can't get
I didn't
into
get on TV till I was 22.
Oh, okay. So you got on TV too late to make that work for you.
Right.
So you're
Oh, I might have been up, because at 22 I was on the edge of up. But by that time, you know, I know I got this responsibility called television, so I'm not gonna that up.
Yeah, and you had already been out there for a few years, so some of that's already worn off, and no one was really after you.
And not only that, for me, I don't know. Maybe there's some similarities from the youth standpoint, but being a comic is such a solo adventure. Whereas he's in a team world, or
Yeah.
supposed to be a team environment. So, and that was one of my other notes. It was like, damn, you with a team and you can't lean on nobody. There wasn't anybody to embrace him and go, look, man, you're welcome to the Laker family. We're going to embrace you. We're going to make sure we help you. You know, we're going to give you a family atmosphere. It felt like he was a loner.
See, that's the other thing I don't understand, because that's what they're supposed to have when your rookie year as a freshman. They're supposed to have all those. And maybe when it didn't happen for him, that's what Doc Rivers talks about. That Doc Rivers was doing a class for rookies so that they would understand what they're about to go up against.
Right.
You know, everybody thinks you're going up against the other team. That's not what you're going up against when you go from. You know, it's going to be different in college now because people are getting paid for their likeness and those things. So they're making a little bit of money now, and some people can make a lot of money. But when you went from, you know, maybe having parents that are struggling so much they don't know if they're going to pay their rent,
right,
to being a millionaire the next day. That leap. That's what Doc Rivers talks about. You need to talk. These kids need some help getting from that day to the next day, because that next day is a big change. It's not like you're just going. It would be like winning the lottery, but you have all the pressure of cameras and temptation, because you win the lottery, you didn't do anything. You hit some numbers. Yeah, you might have a lot of money, and now you have family that's coming at you. You're famous. It's not just family that's coming at you. It's everybody. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork to see what they can get out of you.
Right.
So it's a big deal. I do feel bad when you said that. I think when you go to a smaller franchise, though, everybody's coming from a different place if they hadn't lived there. So people are like, I think they probably closer knit or tighter knit.
Yeah, again, I wish they would have dove deeper into the explanation as to why didn't he pick up the phone and go, Mom, whether it's mom or my boy or whatever sibling, yo, I'm lonely. I'm lost out here. Nobody's embracing me. I'm not getting playing time. I'm slipping into depression.
Yeah.
I got money to fly. I could buy you a plane ticket. Come kick it with me. Lift my morale.
Well, wasn't it his dad again? Why didn't his dad, you know?
Well, no, his dad wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Gilbert Arenas had the dad.
Yeah,
the
that's
single
right.
dad.
His was his mom. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off right now. But why? You know, I guess you don't call home mom and say you're thinking about joining the gang.
But prior to him joining the gang, why didn't he make the phone call to say all the other?
And have mom come out.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I don't understand. Some people, you know, you hear that the successful stories usually sound like they bring mom out. Mom comes out. Somebody comes out and keeps them like.
Keep the morale up. Call your boy and go, hey, man, this is the situation. Come out here. Let's hit the gym. Shoot some hoops with me. Do something to keep me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's crazy, man. And then, yeah, when you talk about a major, you're talking about one of the most storied franchises ever in the Lakers. You look at the banners, you see the legacies. Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Kobe, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kareem, Magic Worthy. That's a lot of pressure.
Well, and I don't understand though the not dressing too. Why are you drafting someone and then not dressing them? Why can't they dress and sit on the bench? What was that
That's
about?
Crazy.
And who was the coach at the time? Do you remember?
Phil Jackson.
And Phil's supposed to be the guru, the you know, he's supposed to be one of the fathers.
Right.
So I would like that story.
I mean, they did mention that his style of play wasn't suited for the triangle. So he felt out of place. And they said Phil was basically telling him, look, man, you're going to have to learn this triangle. And he felt so out of place in accepting the triangle.
And I could see, like, if you're the coach and if they're not accepting the triangle, you push back a little bit so that they come to you.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I think coaches like Phil Jackson have more understanding of young players coming in and not understanding that they would be different, or he would put a younger coach to say, go with him.
Well, he should have done that, because they always said Phil's thing was his talent was managing egos.
Right. So
when you're a young player, do you have an ego? No.
So that's what I don't understand.
Right.
That one is a little lost to me, unless he put up some walls that no one could get past.
And which you could tell he was so gracious and humble and happy to be there. That wasn't in his makeup.
So that didn't make any sense.
Right. You know, let me jump ahead, now talking about Gilbert. And obviously when he went to the Wizards, Javaris tells the story about how it was a totally different environment. So much so that he was in practice doing something and Gilbert goes, hey, man, what do you need? What size shoes do you wear? And threw him shoes. So Washington became that family for him. But again, the shenanigans. And he said one of the other players told him, hey man, be careful. Don't fall for Gilbert's shenanigans. And what I noticed was when they were showing Gilbert with some of the other teammates, yeah, they were laughing. Yeah, they played. But there were a couple moments where they showed some of their faces like, you about to cross the line. Like, you need to get your ass whipped, dog.
It's always funny to the person it's not happening to. Everybody loves it when they're watching something go down.
Right.
Because it's not happening to them. One, they're happy because it's not happening to them. They've probably been on that receiving end of the bad moment.
Right.
Now it's not their time. They're not in the bad moment, and it's funny. But that, if you're not part of that, especially like he's talking about, I didn't come from that. I didn't come from a place where you joke like that.
Right.
Yeah, but you also have to see what's going on. You have to be. I'm not saying and he had some relationship with Gilbert. That's why I'm surprised that there wasn't a.
They all did until, like you said, it was happening to them.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. There comes a certain point where you could clearly tell Gilbert never got his ass whooped.
No, he didn't.
Because if you get your ass whipped, you know there's a line. And Gilbert always crossed the line. And I thought to myself, you know what? It's crazy too. Because prior to Gilbert and that team, and when Gilbert arrived, the Wizards finally made the playoffs. I was like, before that, it was the Jordan Wizards. And I went, I just wish the timing could have been so that Gilbert got on the team when Jordan was there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now obviously Gilbert Arenas, talent-wise, was head and shoulders above everybody that was there when Mike was there. The most talented player when Mike, outside of Mike, was Rip Hamilton. But outside, and maybe Jerry Stackhouse. But again, the Gilbert Arenas team was so much a better team, but I'm just going, you know what they needed? A veteran.
Yeah.
To tell them to calm the. If Michael Jordan is in that locker room, you think that happens with the guns?
No.
Matter of fact, I don't even think a lot of the shenanigans would have went down.
No, there would. That Gilbert would have changed because somebody like Jordan. See, the cool thing about having a veteran is the veteran isn't going to call you out in front of everybody.
He's going to pull you to the side.
He's going to pull you to the side, or he's going to have you over his house. He's going to beat your ass at his house. He's going to let you know,
right?
But privately. So that it doesn't, so that you understand, and it's probably not going to be an ass beating, but it's probably
a tongue lashing,
a real serious,
right.
Like, yeah, a come to Jesus. That's why it would have been good with Jordan, because a come to Black Jesus moment,
right?
And that would have been a great, veteran to put him in his place, because when he's talking to you, what are you going to say?
There was a book that I read that chronicled the Wizard years with Mike. And Doug Collins tells this story where he goes, at one point when the team was really struggling, he was feeling disrespected. A couple of players were going out of their way to talk to him a certain kind of way. And he goes, Mike stepped in and goes, yo, we don't talk to our coach that way. We don't do that. And that killed it.
It's kind of, that's those veterans. You need that too, because that's what happened in Boston when what is it? DJ came over, and Maxwell had to say, "Hey, we don't talk to the coach like that." But he pulled him aside, because DJ wasn't a rookie. He was a little older and had a little. So they pulled him aside. That's just, it was just missed because, again, like you just said, it was young kids.
And I don't know if you remember, but who also was on that Wizards team for a hot minute was Charles Oakley, who's Jordan's best friend, one of Jordan's best friends. Yeah. Now picture Jordan and Oakley on that team. None of them with Oakley, who was a slap the shit out of you kind of dude. He might you up on the pull up to the side.
Well, you imagine seriously like Gilbert doing something a little off, like they're saying, to Oakley.
Right.
That doesn't finish well for Gilbert.
Right.
So yeah, you got a great point.
And then when they talked about the actual gun controversy, and it escalated from, oh word, you gonna burn my car? I'll shoot you. Oh, you gonna threaten my life? So now we gotta both break. I'm sitting there going, did Javaris really think that Gilbert Arenas, face of the city, face of the team, pro player, millions of dollars, endorsements, you really thought this man was going to shoot you? You
No.
really thought that?
No, but it's you can't back down. It's about it's
Ego?
Yeah. It's about pride.
To me, foolishness, intelligence wins over foolishness every day. That's why I'm saying, let me go back to the Corey Holcomb. Again, every now and then, I'll read it in my feed. That put hands on you and you ain't do shit. You sued. You a bitch for that. And I was scrolling through Instagram the other day or TikTok, and I saw the clip. I hadn't seen it in a long time. Where Corey is beefing with Zoe because he had to come out of his pocket, Corey, $30,000 for that when I sued him. And so he was beefing with Zoe like, because you couldn't control yourself, you put hands on Aries and it cost me 30 grand that you said you was gonna pay me back, that you ain't never paid me back. And then they started arguing and he goes, I ain't Aries Spears. You better watch your tone. And so I go, okay, again, if I had reacted the way the streets say I should react, or machoism, and I f up, all it takes is one up. Now I'm doing this, or I'm doing this to my mama behind the glass. Because of dumb shit. When I just go, there's another way to skin a cat.
Dude, listen, I'm not here to judge. But if we look at the killings that happened, on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about folks, white folks too, Mexican folks too. You think these people really want to shoot each other? You think they really want to kill each other over ego? But no one wants to back down. We're in this place where everybody has to
stand their ground.
It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
It's ridiculous to the point, what you're just saying, that, he said, I ain't Aries Spears. But when it comes down to it, what's he going to do? Are they going to really go? Are they going to go fight? Are they really going to go fight? Are they going to go really do that? And if they are, they're going to put that on TV. They're going to film that. They're not doing that either. And Corey's attitude. How many movies Corey's been in? Mm-hmm. I'm not shitting on Corey.
No, I know what you're saying. Because in my mind, I went, now if you do something and it get too far, now you've taken yourself out of position. You can't work. Gigs that you got coming up, you can't do it because you're locked up. You're missing out on money. You're the sole breadwinner. You can't pay the mortgage. You can't pay your college, your kids' school. Like, you, what are you doing?
Like, someone's going to, people don't understand. It's a business, man. You want to be on a movie, they have to pay. There's an insurance premium on every actor that's on that stage.
And when you're Tupac Shakur, you're high risk.
And so if you want a major star, they're not going to cast someone else. I don't need the headache.
Right.
So, people there's decisions to be made. Some of them are financial.
Right.
Some of them are just good decisions. Just because you're a person, a human, and you go, there's nothing in this that's going to better me to do
Right.
to do this.
Right.
Let me go over here. So whatever it is, whatever everybody's saying, the streets can talk, but the streets don't pay.
Right. Right. Hey, my mortgage is due, streets. My kid's school needs to be paid for, streets. I need to put money in my woman's pocketbook so the stay wet, streets.
Well, and there's streets out. The people on the streets are making their money a different way on the streets, but there's no program. There's
Right.
no program for the people that didn't get any money.
And we know how that can end.
Yeah. The only thing the streets will pay for, sometimes they'll put money on your books when you're in jail or prison.
Yeah, I'll make my money the way I'm making it. Dude, I'm telling you, man, Peter Vessey's a scumbag. I know he's a journalist and he's doing his job, but you're a scumbag.
I was first of all, he looks terrible.
He's white, man.
But he looks
I know, but you know me. Y'all
but
know.
he just looks terrible though. But anyway, he was always
Scumbagish?
yeah.
Yeah.
But these guys who want to break the story, and yeah, you get paid to break the story, but Jesus.
Right.
What's
I know. It's almost like I know you're doing your job, but you're hurt. Well, I could hear the naysayers because I'm going to go, but you're hurting people's positions. Well, they put themselves in them positions.
They did put themselves in that position, but there was no. Okay, first of all, I don't think that any of those guns were loaded.
No.
I don't think anybody was really going to kill
And
each
even
other.
if they were, nobody's going to kill each other, dude.
No one was. They picked it up. One of the guns was thrown. It wasn't. I mean, the idea there was a possibility of more of an injury from getting hit in the shin with the gun flying by you than it was from a bullet.
Right.
So he made a big to do about nothing to break a story about nothing because it has to do with a lethal weapon. But it was kind of. I mean, I don't think everybody and he's going to do anything. I understand why there's a story there. I understand why there's a story that we're talking about it.
But you understand why it's amplified, though. Young black men in the NBA, and this is what they do. This is what they do. Guns, black men, and violence. There's your story.
But I would like to have been there. I never would have wanted to have been there. But I want to know what Gilbert's reaction was when he said, "No, I don't need your gun.
I got my own." And then he pulls this shit out. Okay, here we go. Dick contest.
Now, I think Gilbert was a joker, but I think at that moment he had a
little bit of fear.
I think he had to think about what he would, this.
Well, no, he even said in the thing, he goes, "That's when I went, all right, this is too much.
Yeah, it went
Enough's
too far.
enough."
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's an unfortunate circumstance.
But here's Gilbert Arenas. Even when the shit was happening and, in the heat of the moment, they showed one clip where the guys are all huddled around each other, and before they break the huddle, he goes pew, 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 with gun fingers, and they all act like they got shot. So you're just going to double down on stupid. You're in hot water right now.
He says it. I doubled down on it. He didn't run.
Yeah, he needed to get his ass whooped at one point. And that's the repercussions of not getting your ass whooped. You don't know where the line is.
You don't understand repercussions. That's the problem. You think that you're always going to get away with it.
Right.
It doesn't always work out that way.
Okay, now here we go. Oh boy, here we go. I got to get back up on this box because I'm watching this, and again, the saddest part. It was unfortunate for both of them, but it was really sad for Javaris.
This was going to change his life.
Yeah, this ruined his life. I mean, it was like between that and the gun incident, and then he was trying to come back. Just when it looked like no one was going to f with him, his agent said, "Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that want to work you out." But then there was an incident where I guess he went into the shower room or something. He was looking for flip-flops. Somebody accused him of stealing flip-flops, which he was like, "What the f?" So then that eventually got him nixed. And then he goes back home to Atlanta. Somebody sticks him up for his chain. He decides to get back at him. He tries to shoot the dude. He shot at the dude who robbed him, but he ends up hitting an innocent bystander. She dies. And then now he goes to jail. And in all of this, his mother goes, "I'm just going to pray for you, baby." I'm just going. So prayer didn't work to help get him out the gun incident. Prayer didn't work when he went to go work out and was accused of stealing flip-flops. Prayer didn't work when he shot the dude and the other girl died and he went to jail. And at one point, Javaris even says something about, and you just, faith. When do you loosen your grip?
The prayer, what are you talking about? No one prayed for him to take the gun out. No one prayed for him to go shoot the person. No one prayed for him to do all those things. Those are the things he did on his own. You get free will. You don't think you never hear that voice in your head. Listen, you brought it up. You said, you could have thrown hands. You could have tried to grab Zoe, jumped on. You could have done a number of different things. You could have handled it a different way. You could have got other dudes who called you and said, "We'll take care of this." You could have done all that. There was a voice in your head that told you not to do that. What do you think that voice? Where do you think that voice was coming from?
God.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know for me. I can't tell you for you. I'm just asking you, was there a voice that said don't do it? You don't think that he heard a voice in his head before he went out there to go get this? But his ego, his person, his human person on this earth was like, nah, I can't have someone take my chain. I gotta go get this chain. And what was the lesson? I'm sorry. The lesson is, and I'm sorry. I apologize to the parents of the girl, but the lesson is that chain. Was that chain ever worth a life?
Especially an innocent one.
But that's what I'm saying. You had all that intention, the chain, my ego. I was disrespected. I. You put your eyes before everything else, and someone dies, and you realize, I wasn't as important as I thought I was. That life that means that up until that moment meant nothing to me. I didn't know that person. I didn't care if that person ate. I didn't care if that person slept. I didn't care where that person, who they were. I didn't care to know their name. But he thinks about that name every day now.
And, you know, I guess this is a testament to those who have faith and believe and stand firm in it. Because at one point, he even said towards the end of the documentary, yeah, you know, I still talk to Gilbert every now and then. He makes sure I'm okay. And I just went, again, I know Javaris played his own, Javaris played his own part in this. But, dude, I feel like, Gilbert, this is all your fault.
I think Gilbert does more than just talk to him.
I didn't get that sense in the doc because Gilbert didn't say he did.
No, but Gilbert wouldn't or shouldn't.
I think he should.
No, I don't think he should say anything. I think that he should be doing more for him. I don't think he should say anything about it. It's not his place to say anything because that also was gonna that's your ego saying, no, well, yeah, I f***ed up, but I make up for it because I'm doing this. If you really truly repent for what you feel like, or you feel that you have put someone in that bad place, you don't go tell everybody, yeah, but I'm taking care of them. That's for you. That's your ego getting away.
I guess so, but the reason why I'm saying for us, for me, the viewer, is because I'm looking at you like, dude, you're an asshole. Yeah. Again, I know it's Javar. He made the choices, but damn it, dude, you had influence on him.
Did you see what kind of car Javaris was driving when he was making this?
Yeah.
What was he driving?
Not an expensive car. And I know
it was a nice car.
What was it?
I thought it was a Mercedes.
Anybody can get a Mercedes now.
Anybody can get a Mercedes, but if your life's that bad, not everybody has a Mercedes. I think he's doing. I think he's doing all right.
I know he's doing all right. Good. You know, he could be living in a gutter. He's not. But you were in the NBA, dog.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be spectacular.
But he killed somebody.
Well, he killed himself first.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, to some degree, Gilbert, I think Gilbert's, you know, like this is because of you.
Yeah, but what's Gilbert going to do about it now? What can he do about it? He can't. So if he's doing the things that he's supposed to do, if he's, you know, the fact that he talks to him, I think that I just felt like there was more there because of the way it was said. I felt there was more of a relationship there. I could be completely wrong, but I felt there was.
Well, I think because of Javaris' ability to forgive, he allowed there to be a relationship because he had every reason to be like you.
Yeah.
So,
but you got to understand that those things happened, but it was a spot. It wasn't just Gilbert. Gilbert caused some of it with the gun thing, and then Vesey outing it out there. But Gilbert didn't make Vesey do that. The whole incident that happened with the flip flops. There's some reason someone him over. It wasn't just I want to say that he took some flip flops. There was something else there. Something else. Somebody else sold him out there as well. That's a story that we didn't get on this, and we don't know why. But you just don't go borrow some flip flops, and the next thing you know, someone's saying you're stealing flip flops.
Listen, if I can't speak to anything else, I could speak to the monster that is created once the deed happens. Because look at me. Aries said this. Aries said that. Oh, Aries is mad, and I go, what? So, once that target is there.
You're right. And I'll give you this. You know why? Because I paid attention to you over these years, and I figured it out. It took me a while to figure it out. If you're a guy that's on the road, I'm going to say comic because that's the industry that I understand the best. But if you're a comic and you're perceived as a nice guy, do you know how hard it is for someone to make you the bad guy? What I mean by that is if you're a nice guy and everybody perceives you as being a nice guy and you walk in and go, this is f***ed up, I need this fixed, I need this fixed, I need this fixed, you're like, oh my God, I f***ed this up. Look at the things I didn't do.
Right.
If you have a reputation, if people assume that you're an asshole and you walk in and go, hey man, I need this fixed. And then the next day you're telling everybody, yeah, and he was all pissed off because that was happening. It's the perception. They don't take responsibility because you've been deemed the asshole. But if someone's deemed the nice person and they can be an asshole, and then you'll go, oh man, I f***ed fucked up. It depends on that perspective that they have of themselves based on even, they know who they are, but based on their perception of you, they'll take ownership for it or they'll blame it on you. And I've seen that with you before.
Yeah.
I've seen you be like but I've also seen you.
Warranted.
Yeah.
Warranted.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
I think you should have just politely declined the ass licking.
No, thank you.
So now he's going to run and tell everybody I was a dick about not wanting to get my ass licked.
You could have been like, thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, yeah,
Hope you enjoyed the show.
That's the white way.
Now, this is why people think he's gay, because he hasn't let go of that.
You know what?
We moved on.
But you know what? You are more of a veteran. Like, you come from a old school mentality where you don't play them games. Mark is this new generation, like, of white boys where, flicking and is funny.
No, I think, if he was serious about it,
No, see,
thanks, but no thanks.
But this is the different. How old are you? 34.
There was like a million people in that theater. He could have asked that too.
Yeah, but he
I'm
asked.
a star.
Yeah, I know he didn't want to lick just any old ass. He wanted the stars. The
stars ass.
But here's the thing.
Now you're like, it had to be me.
It had to be me. Go ahead.
It's his age group. This age, man, everything is rainbows, and it's like there's a point when everything gets rainbowed and gay pride, and where somebody goes, I'll lick your ass for a t-shirt, and you go, and then at me, I was like, well, why would you say that? What's wrong with you?
Right.
And him
Because
is,
he wanted to lick your
at
ass.
his age group, they go, he wants to lick my ass. Maybe I am gay. I'll try it. Everything is rainbows. Everything is. It's
the dumbest take I've ever heard.
No, it's not.
We gotta jump on
It's not a
Favre.
dumb take.
Fucking
It's
rainbows on my school books and
yeah. So it just seems like maybe it's me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't have a lot of notes for the Brett Favre one. It's called The Downfall of Favre. Dude, let me ask you something. Are football fans the most barbaric? When you think about all the major sports, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, it seems to me football fans are the most barbaric animals on the planet. I've never seen a fight in the stands at a basketball game, a baseball game.
Baseball games, there's fights.
Not like football, though.
They have
you
stabbings.
gotta go
They've had
overseas,
stabbings.
though.
They have
That's when they
stabbings.
really take sports seriously.
Yeah, that's
Where?
Just overseas.
in football, footy ball,
Soccer.
soccer.
Ole, ole, ole.
That's where
ole.
they like kick at. There's like wars. So that one I think is worse. But that's
But of U.S. sports.
U.S. sports. I think it's the it might be the spelling bee contest because it's the parents that are fighting each other in the stands.
Oh, and nothing
But-
like 100 Indian people fighting each other. My son's about to wear the connector.
No, yeah. Football though is pretty because you have that. You see the Raiders are the best example because they come out to be aggressive.
Right.
They wear the
Right.
the Raider unit and there's and you do aggressive things. It's freezing cold outside and you paint your body and then you go out and stand out there with no shirt on, just paint and you're
That probably also has to be attributed to the fact that it's the most violent in terms of
yeah,
content.
you're a warrior. And plus a lot of people played, but they played in high school and that's as far as they got. So this is their got to support the team.
Just so you guys have some context, this one chick who turned out to be super hot, Maxim model, Sports Illustrated, Playboy, has accused Brett Favre, well, accused, but they also showed the pic, but without showing the dick, they blurred it out, was accused Brett Favre of...
Did you ever see the original pic, Mark? I thought...
It's in my browser history.
It's hanging on my wall at home.
Accused Brett Favre of sending her suggestive text messages, wanting her to go back to his hotel room. He sent her a pic, and this is all the while Brett Favre's actual wife is battling cancer. So he's ultimately wanting to cheat on his wife with cancer. And they said that, look, one of the things about Brett Favre was he was a boys be boys kind of guy. You might find him at the end of a bar, sitting on a stool, chugging a beer back. And I went, because eventually she got fired. And I was like, when he came to the Jets and she worked for the Jets,
She didn't get a contract renewed after a year.
Fired.
Yeah.
So was that because of him? Did he do that?
She reported it. So it's who you going to get rid of, Favre or her?
Right.
In her contract, they didn't have to fire her because her contract wasn't going to, they just don't renew it.
Which is a polite fire.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
but it gets them off the hook legally.
Right.
Here's the other thing about it. They never met each other. That's the thing that when she's talking about. They never were in the same room together.
Right.
She never met him. So I do want to say this. And listen, ladies, I'm not giving Brett Favre a pass. But some of your colleagues, some of your female colleagues, there's a reason men feel that they can do this. There's a reason why famous actors, famous people, musicians,
Right.
famous actors, people
Sports
of fame,
figures, yeah.
people of fame. It's not just money. It's people of fame with money, with access, with power. They feel they can get away with this because
They do.
it's happened. Because women have just walked up and that is what they wanted. And they didn't talk, they didn't introduce each other, they didn't meet each other, and they walk away and they tell people, yeah, I Brett Favre, and that he went home that night and that's what he assumed. I'm not saying that it's right for him to assume that every woman is like that, but
Well, they said,
I think it's also too because they also know they can get away with it because what happens when women report they're the ones that end up getting victimized.
that too, but more to Andy's point, and they mentioned it in the doc. When you're a rock star and you have godlike status for 15 years, your perception on reality is jaded. And when you've gotten away with that for 15 years, what's to make you think that a woman would say no?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that's why people eat candy and keep getting fatter. It tastes good. It doesn't say no. It just goes in and it feels good. It makes them feel they get the little endorphins going. It tastes good. It's good.
I bet you more women have rejected him than have slept with him or said yes.
No, because those guys.
Because you're just firing at your hip.
No.
No. When you're Brett Favre in Green Bay and you have godlike, insert any quarterback in whatever city. Tom Brady in Boston, Dan Marino in Miami, Joe Montana when he played with the Niners. When you are, and that quarterback position is the top tier, creme de la creme position, and you're the man,
But this, to Mark's point, I think this is why guys those kind of guys get in trouble when you go. I'm gonna throw in who was the Steelers quarterback?
Ben Roethlisberger.
Listen, man, someone like him. This is where I think it gets confusing for guys. Girls come up, and some girls just want to sleep with the quarterback. There are girls that do that. It happens in high school for people in high school. But let's go to professional sports. They go out. She gets a little drunk. She's drinking, he's drinking, and then they talk for a minute, and the next thing you know, he's her. So when you're in that position and that happens, and it's not an abnormal thing. Let's just put it that way. It's not abnormal. I'm not saying it should be normalized. It's not abnormal. And then some girl comes up and talks to him because she just wants to talk to him. Maybe she likes him, but she doesn't think she's going to sleep with him right at that moment. And that's the moment where he is under the impression that, oh, well, I talked to you for 5 minutes, and then we have another drink, and then I go to the bathroom and I try to throw it in you. And then that's when she's running out of the room screaming. I'm not saying that he isn't responsible for it. I'm saying, though, there is some bad training that's went into some of these people. You don't hear about this. You don't hear about Billy that often, the mechanic. That's a decent-looking guy that, he goes to the bar, and at the end of the night, he's trying to fuck some girl in the bathroom the same way. It does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying, but his life isn't made up of that. He actually probably is going to meet someone, talk to them, maybe have a drink from them, maybe say, hey, man, I'll call you, and maybe we'll go out, and like a normal person. But these other guys aren't having normal interactions with women a lot of times.
What was Billy wearing?
Probably Wrangler jeans because he's a mechanic.
And again, dude, this is where I go. If between this doc and the last one, I'll never trust being around a journalist because the story got leaked when this one journalist reported on another football player that was doing shenanigans, and she goes, like basically, if you only knew my story, and then she told him that
Off the record,
and he goes, I'm running your story, like you piece of shit. Like if those are people that are punchable, like really, and again from the journalist standpoint, hey, this is almost like a career shaker. I broke the story. This is big news. Well, so I'm looking out for me first.
Well, and she gets her emails hacked, and those get sold to the what was the name of the I forgot the name of the music.
TMZ.
No, it wasn't TMZ that did it. It was I forget. It was a new magazine from this.
Deadspin?
Might have been Deadspin.
That's the one that dude worked for.
Yeah, then that's it.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll go with that. But it's not important. It really isn't important.
And you know, they and this is my last note, you know, at one point, again, when they're describing Brett Favre as being this godlike figure, and I guess this was the big, hey, I'm finally done with football. Let me go back to Lambeau Field and wave a final goodbye to the fans. And as they're doing that, they show the one lady in the stands, and I mean, she's crying. And I'm like, again, maybe because I'm in it, I'm in the game, that I just don't understand that kind of fandom. But then I went, you know what? Maybe when it's like football in your house is tradition. You know, it was a big deal to your dad before him. He took you to the game. You grew up in the stadium. You watched it on TV during the holidays. It's like it was the soundtrack to your life, that it means that much to you. There's nothing that's ever just meant that much to me. Really? You crying? Brett Favre don't know you. He ain't never been to your house.
Michael Jordan. You wouldn't get down on one knee and
Easy.
Let me ask you this question, because you kind of said that about, he said no. He's probably been turned down more. Do you think Brad Pitt has said no more than he's been told no?
Said no more?
Do you think he said to women no?
I don't know. I think
don't know?
I think it's a super high number of people that have probably rejected Brad Favre, because like not the amount of advances.
I wasn't
he
saying
gives
Brad
on
Favre.
people,
I'm just asking you a question. I said
he's rejected more people.
No.
Yeah, he's probably rejected
Brad
more people
Pitt.
that have rejected him.
Yeah. So you think that's happened? He's rejected more.
I'd assume so.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he probably gets lots of advances. Like no.
I'm just saying there's a. It's like women. It's when men become women. When women have to say, they have to be the ones to say no. There's very few men that ever live a life where they become the ones that have to say no.
I'm tired of
Men
living this life.
but men ask more than women. They're the ones who.
Of course. It's our nature. It's in our nature to do that.
But they still have to be the ones. They're in a position in life where they do have to say no. They're not.
There's probably a lot of women out there that Brett Favre did this to. I mean, they said there was others.
Yeah, but Brett Favre, though, this is the thing. When you have that much coming at you, you're not running around going, hey, let me get that one over there that said no.
I know, but it's like repeated. It
Is
got
it?
like he went on MySpace or something and was like, hey, what the
Why would you do that unless you thought that was going to work for you, that was acceptable for you?
It's also kind of pathetic at one point.
But you can call it what you want.
You're going to be an anonymous person on a website finding the girl shit.
Hey man, how you hunt? There's no pathetic in how you hunt, as long as you make the kill. You know what I'm saying?
You hear what Elon Musk does? He messages women, asks if they want to have his baby, and then like he'll spend like.
Are you being funny? Or
months.
are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Oh.
And he'll fucking there's a lot of people that like he actually kind of blew up, and they'd start getting paid a lot on X because people would start following them because he'd like repost them and shit like that, and then he'll make, hey, do you want to have a baby? I'll give you this amount of money, and for the richest guy in the world, that's kind of pathetic.
There ain't nothing pathetic when you that rich. Pathetic and you don't go together.
Dude, that's like autistic, weird.
Yeah, and
I'll take it. You give me his money, I'll behave like that. I'll behave like come me, come this
That's
autistic
loser shit. That you
know how many women,
more game than that.
Okay, hey, you think I want to play? Yeah, I do got game, but if I can have it fall in my lap, my game.
Wait a minute though. This is what you're not adding to your equation. If you're Elon Musk, does everybody know you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you actually going to have a normalized relationship with someone that you meet someone and you go, wow, I like this band. Oh, I like this band too. You know what I like? I like these movies. I like these movies too. All right. You want to go out? I like this restaurant. Oh, I like this restaurant. Let's go. And you go out and you enjoy it and you have these common things.
Yes, that's what happens.
That's not ever going to happen in someone's life
You
like
can
him.
still meet a gold digging whore you still have things in common with.
No.
That's why all
No, you
his,
can't. You
That's
can't.
like the majority of the women that
A
he's
gold-
had kids with, they're psychos.
A gold digging whore will like whatever the you like.
Yes, because you got the gold.
Dude, you're trying to normalize something that's not normal. That is not normal. That is why they're in relationships with people like that. And he came to the conclusion, and I would almost say professor-like in some ways. Oh, I would like my baby, my sperm would look good on her egg and make a good-looking kid. I will her. I will have a child with her. For him, it's about making children. There's no connection. That's why you're paying someone. You're paying someone for a
If
baby.
I had Elon Musk's money, I would wear a T-shirt that says "Come this black autistic."
It's past pathetic, dude. It's a problem. But what would you do if someone you had everybody knows you, you have no way of meeting someone and having an honest relationship with them? You really have to ask yourself that question.
I don't know if you ever saw the clip, but I loved it because it spoke the truth. There was a clip where Jeff Bezos was at some function and with his wife, and Leonardo DiCaprio is talking to her. And I guess wherever he might have been standing on something that made him a lot taller, but the look in her face as she was looking up at him with these eyes that just said, "I will suck your
right now,"
right in front of Jeff Bezos. She was with the husband, nigga, and was locked and entranced into Leonardo's eyes.
Well, but because Bezos is the security of life.
And okay, so he's got 50 times more money than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, but there it is. Yeah, she was ready to risk it all. Look at her. Yeah. She is locked in. Oh.
I think that's overanalyzed. I don't know.
Really?
I mean,
this is the guy who just overanalyzed everything.
It's a lot to make out of like a 15-second clip, but yeah, no,
a hot blonde movie star.
He's hot to you?
Okay. So you don't think the line around the block to fuck Leonardo DiCaprio exists?
All of a sudden,
versus Jeff Bezos,
the second richest.
Yeah,
in the world?
but Jeff Bezos is secure because. Do you think he has normal relationships?
No.
No, because he's going to go, well, I like her. She's attractive. She's going to like everything that I like. There's very few, those people, the only way they get a real relationship is someone who doesn't want to be with them. That's the ones they have to go after because that's the person that actually has a real personality, a real idea, and doesn't want to be part of that. So they have to go after that.
When a bitch that turns Michael Jordan down, let me meet her.
There's been, I'm sure that.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm saying I know it happens. But come on.
Yeah.
That's a needle in a haystack.
Everybody there's needles out there.
All right, there it is.
We didn't really go into the Brett Favre.
I didn't have much for the Brett Favre.
It's a good tale.
Did
it's
his
a good
wife
tale.
beat off cancer?
Beat off cancer? That's how you survive it. You beat it off. You beat off cancer.
Couldn't even beat off her own husband.
You beat off cancer. Cancer comes and it goes away.
There it is.
All right, guys. Let me tell you where we're going to be. Listen, we're finishing up here in Canada. We're a couple weeks ahead on our podcast. We had to get ahead because we are all over the place right now, and it is crazy. So you're listening to this on the 11th, so we're going to be June 13th to the 14th at the Funny Bone in Omaha. June 19th to the 21st, we're at Wise Guys in Las Vegas, first time out. June 26th
Wait
to the 28th.
a minute, isn't what you call coming up, though?
Yeah,
Louisville?
but
I think this is going to air later, though.
It's going to air after. We've already been there.
Oh.
We're in the future.
Oh.
Time travel is possible. June 26th to the 28th, Olson Run Comedy Club in Eugene, Oregon. July 5th, Margaritaville Resort and Casino in Bossier City, Louisiana. June 12th, Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. And June 17th to the 20th, Helium Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon. Listen, that's where I'm going to stop right now because we have to go to another show here tonight. in Toronto. That's the show. Anything else?
Nope.
Anything?
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsbergpod.com.